Well, hey everyone. Welcome back to the Duchess of Unicorn YouTube channel. And I appreciate you being here. And comment, of course, as I always say, if you have something to say about the videos that I'm posting. So it's Sunday, the 29th of March. And most of you know that we are still going through this whole pandemic thing. But with everything that is, how do we say, everything that's a difficult or challenging time comes with its silver lining, if you will. And so some people may find it scary or hard to see that through your pain. But know that there are other forces at work that are for the greater good, and things will be unleashed as we go on forward. And I say this especially for people who are not sure. You are inundated with a lot of the pandemic news, and a lot of the pandemic news involves even our celebrities, people that are on high profile positions, senators and congressmen and, of course, the president. But I'm talking about our celebrities as well. They like to sometimes chime in to kind of still stay relevant, and it helps their PR. And sometimes it's good. If you give a little money, you get a little bit of media attention and you stay relevant. So it's not bad to give and still attain more of your relevancy in terms of being a celebrity. So I've noticed that a lot. And it's good because if you're going to give to something, then give to something that may help others. I personally, if you have any extra, and a lot of people don't, but if you have any extra in your giving, say like a celebrity does, they give $1 million here or there, or 500,000 here or there, give it directly to a very small organization that actually still has its, how do you say, when it's a new organization, whoops, excuse me, just kicked my trash barrel. When an organization is small, it is still feeling out how to actually become big, right? When you start an organization, I know I have tried. When you start an organization and it's a nonprofit, if you will, you're still being so small that you can really feel and get a sense of what community means and what community needs. And so if you have money, that's, I believe, and that's what I do, is give directly to a person or a small organization that you really believe is doing the work. Sometimes when an organization is already established, like say the Red Cross, it is good too. Don't get me wrong. It is good too, but it doesn't feel as good, and you can't see where your money is going because it gets absolved in so much bureaucracy. Whereas when you have a small organization, you really know that you're helping with the overhead, or you're helping with the volunteers, or whoever gets a stipend. You're seeing that the organization, pay its bills, or put food on the table, or open its doors, or keep their doors open longer, etc., etc., etc. So that would be my thought. And of course, to me, it always feels good when you give to someone that directly, that you feel. And again, you can see things, but can you feel those things? Can you feel the need? Can you empathize with them so much that without, much question? There's always a doubt, but much question, can you feel that that person would benefit from your direct assistance? And that is the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced, is giving directly to a person or a group of people. And that can be anything from bartering or giving of money. I've given plenty and plenty and plenty. And now things are going to be slimmer for a lot of us. And that's me included, everybody. So we look to the celebrities because they have stores and stores. And I mean stores, I mean like bank accounts and properties and things and cars and jewelry and connections. And so those people do have excess monetary accessibility. And so we always look to them, and not because we think they have to, but because we think that they have such an excess that they can do to give someone something else or to give an organization something else. And it will not come out of, it won't make them in the, depression lines. They won't be at the supermarket looking for a loaf of bread. So where I'm going with this is that what we see now is we see a lot of things about the pandemic, and we're seeing a lot of things that are dragging us down and, eating up our enthusiasm for life in general. But I want you not to be despaired. If you've looked at the videos that I have in the playlist, which I think is called Weird Society, you'll see a lot of things that in those videos, if you have time to watch them and if you're so inclined, it's not happy watching, it's interesting watching, thought-provoking watching, and you can therefore jump off from that point and look into things deeper, depending on what topic within those, I think, 9 videos. I think one video, the 5th video, was deleted. I don't know why. I was able to see it the other day, last week, I think it was, and then suddenly I put it on my playlist and I see it got deleted. So if anyone comes across playlist number 5 from Fall Cabal, then grab it up and send me a link, please. But also, more importantly, that is missing. I didn't do it. They're not my videos. They're from another YouTuber called Fall Cabal. And I found these 10 videos, but one is missing now. So maybe somebody in YouTube world has it. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. You never know. Someone else might have it still. That's why they always say download things. But nobody can always do that on their home computers. And nobody wants to. These things are ugly and sad, but they're truths. Okay, so so this is more of an update. So I have a post here that I'm going to go briefly over and kind of just talk with you about some of the things I've been experiencing since this pandemic and how it ties into some of Fall Cabal's video topics, okay, that channel's topics, particularly with this set of series of videos there. So this post here is on the internet called latinpost.com. The Queen allegedly disrespected Meghan Markle, but there's more to the story. So I think it's just this particular story that I'm going to just skim is more about how it relates to how Meghan and Harry were not in the procession, and it has to kind of go back to, the Queen, is disrespected, so therefore what she did is pull those two out of having the, enjoying the procession with the family, the rest of the royal family, and leave them to walk down the aisle like commoners, like, again, nobility class, but still like to take the trek through the entire, how do you say, congregation of that day by themselves, kind of the lone, shameful walk, if you will. And I watched it, the Commonwealth Day celebration that was aired on TV for the British royals, and Meghan and Harry did take that walk alone, but they tried to minimize it in terms of the walk itself, through the Common Day celebration at the church. I think the media downplayed it, but they did walk from pillar to post alone, basically. And that must have been humiliating for them in the way that it shows that that's like the long walk of shame. Like that's one of your, highlights. You're on that red carpet. It wasn't a red carpet, but you're on that long walk alone. And it was something that spoke volumes, I think, but was kind of downplayed by the media in terms of us seeing it on our televisions. But if we were in the congregation, in the celebration, seated there, we would have witnessed that. That was a long trek from the beginning of the entrance of the church to seating yourselves. That was tough, and you were excluded from the procession, so you weren't part of walking with the family per se, even though there's been reports that Meghan tried to kind of, talk, chat extra to the entrance priest or whatever, reverends, whatever it is, the people up front kind of dragged her feet, and they had to have a guy. And if you see him, if you look at the Commonwealth Day celebration, you see this guy. He's obviously with the church, kind of scurrying her along and kind of moving her along. And it's a little bit shown in one of the videos that I posted of my own, when I was talking about the pregnant woman who was kind of trying to be obscured and kind of stay in the background, escorting, Meghan and Harry, kind of like following them, if you will. But you know that she was either their press person, or she was either MI5. She could have been her secretary. She could have been placed there by the Queen. Nobody knows. She could be her surrogate. I know that sounds crazy. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. She looked like she was about 5 months pregnant. But it's hard to tell because you don't know this person, and you can only see them in a coat with their belly, and you can see she's visibly pregnant. So I've spoke about this Commonwealth Day, and you see that when Meghan was in the beginning of the church coming through, she was kind of slow. It's like she wanted to just, I don't know. I think she just wanted to kind of be with the procession, and kind of minimize that as well. But she was scurried along by a gentleman with glasses that obviously has this outfit on for the church. So if anybody else knows who he is, that's fine. But you can plainly see that he's kind of, okay, come along, here you go, and this is Mrs. Doodoo, and this is Mr. Doodoo, and on, kind of edging her down the line. And it looks like Meghan was kind of dragging her feet a little bit. So during the procession for Commonwealth Day, the National Enquirer has put up a statement claiming that the Queen disrespected Meghan at the event. This is about the issue of the couple deciding to step down from their royal duties. Now, personally, just let me have a side note, because you guys know I always like to throw my 2 cents in here, is that who the hell is Meghan that the Queen has to be concerned, per se, about disrespecting her? Come on, people. This woman came out of left field, ran up, grabbed a crown, threw a dress on, had somebody pay for it, walked down the aisle, had a big stink about she had to have a choir and all this other stuff, and she had to emphasize the black side when she's always playing the white side of her. Okay, whatever, I'm with that. It doesn't really matter. It's just an observation that I'm making, and I often get kicked down because I'm making an observation that she kind of plays up in front of people that she's spiteful for the black side of her. But then when she wants to seem like she fits in with things, she'll play up her white side. Again, I firmly believe that even though we see her as a light-skinned woman, which is not going to change, I noticed a discernible difference in her tone of skin. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying that she's not biracial and that she can't. I'm biracial, so I know what I'm speaking of, but I'm not saying that someone can't choose which side they want to be. Of course, you can't just choose any old day. It's like, oh, today I think I'll be more white. It's almost kind of like an act. And so that's what I'm trying to say to people, and I'm getting a lot of ridicule because the channel's growing, and so that's not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing in terms of it attracts negative energies. And those negative energies would like to do nothing better than to suck me in and take me off course. But here's what I'm saying. As a biracial woman myself, period, I feel I have all the more reason to speak on this topic since I am of this topic. And so when I speak of this, some people won't understand, because if you're a white person or a black person only in terms of like how you identify with yourself, you might not be able to see past that and see into what I'm saying. And then there are other intelligent and deeply thoughtful people that can see. What I'm saying when I say that she's whitening herself or Europeanizing herself, I clearly feel that when she is playing the role of Duchess of Sussex and she really wants to play the part, you'll see that her hair is now being put back properly in a bun. She doesn't have a lot of it hanging. It seems like she's taking more time. But I also see that, yes, just because she has freckles doesn't mean only that she is white or light skinned. Many of us are. I mean, I'm not white as her, but I'm fairly light skinned. And I have all different birthmarks and everything, and I just don't have freckles because my parents don't have freckles. My mother never had freckles, and she's Caucasian. And she has red-headed family members, brothers and sisters. My father is dark skinned and her mother was dark skinned, and she had definitely had her nose, even though they're trying to portray that Meghan has her father's nose. If you look back when she was a teenager and a young, preteen and teenager, you see that before she got work done, her nose was a lot wider. So you don't have to be a racist to speak about features. There's distinct features in Asians. There's distinct features in Caucasian people. There's distinct features in Black people. There's distinct features in Irish people and Welsh. You can go on and on and on. Every ethnic group has their markers, if you will. And genetics wouldn't be blowing up right now and getting your test done by a swab in your mouth if everybody was so sure and so positive of, genetics or who they are or who they think they are. So when I'm referring as a biracial woman myself in terms of Meghan Markle, I am strictly talking from experience. So unless you too can talk from a biracial standpoint, please try to cease from attacking me because you think you know where I'm coming from. You couldn't possibly know where I'm coming from unless you're biracial when I'm speaking of biracial topics. Yes, you can have an idea and yes, you can chime in, but don't attack me because you think I'm being racist. Because if you had any mind, you'd know that most Black people, most ethnic people, it's very hard to be racist. I mean, it's pretty hard to be biracial and be racist. It really is. I'll leave it at that so I don't get taken off course. But that's what I'm speaking of. So when we see that the Queen has stripped both of their titles and they will no longer be addressed as Your Highness the Duke of Sussex, but instead Your Grace Duke of Sussex, which I think we can just drop the grace. I mean, what's the grace? Please, I guess what I'm saying is show me the receipts of grace. Show me the receipts that you should be treated or looked at as real royalty. Yes, Prince Harry is real royalty, but I really don't care. I mean, he really even feels like, call me Harry, because I think in my heart, I think he's a little bit of a shame that he turned his entire heritage. He turned from his entire heritage. It may be easy for Meghan Markle to turn from her heritage because she's biracial and she can pick and choose which side she feels like kicking around today. Like today, I feel like being a little bit more African American. Oh, no, it's Tuesday. It's a sunny day. Today, I feel like being a little bit more Caucasian. I think I'll be more Caucasian because I have freckles. I think a lot of white people eat that up because you see that she has freckles, and somebody who's not intelligent enough to know that's, just a dynamic, that's just like having a mole, or it's just, and actually freckles are also called age spots. They can become very detrimental to your skin. So when we look at that and she feels like that is more relatable to the white side of her, this is me as a biracial woman speaking like this because I can. And I think I am aware, and I think I feel a little bit. I have a lot of empathy for the situation because it's very hard to be two things at once, right? And I'm going to leave that at that. Okay. So the couple was forced to walk down to their seats, and both were downgraded to the second row. Aww. So they were behind the Queen herself, Prince Charles, Camilla, Prince William, and Kate. So the two of these Sussexes were behind everyone else. And so that spoke volumes, I think, to Meghan's ego. Although she, of course, played it off because there's nothing else she can do. What could she do? I mean, honestly, she already has been paid and bought for to sit there and shut up. So what more can she have done? Make angry faces, which makes her look ugly, which makes her forever be photographed in that manner. And Meghan is not having it. You and I both know that. So even though Prince Harry, he could make a scowling face. He could look, he could, scrunch his nose up. He could make dead eyes at people. He could, make expressions like he's, so bothered. But Meghan kept a cool face because she knows, God forbid, her ugly face would show and be forever frozen in pictures. She's not trying to have that. Here's what I find interesting and that a lot of people may overlook is that Meghan seems to have more perfect photos, whether that be photoshopped or whether that just be her beauty itself. She could be very photogenic all the time. My question is, all the time? Come on, people. There's some very pretty people out there, some very beautiful people, physically beautiful, and they don't always have a wonderful face expression. They don't always look totally together. They don't always have a perfect photo going out into the universe. But it's interesting, Meghan has many, many perfectly shot stills, perfectly produced photos like the umbrella and Prince Harry, and everybody was wondering how it was lit up underneath. But it really wasn't. That was a Photoshop. It was lightened up. And you can do that yourself if you have the software. But basically, every photo shows very little emotion. And that takes constant, diligent work not to wear your emotions in your face, on your face, or again, wearing your heart on your sleeve. That all, and she's good at I know she's good at projecting that too. And that's the other thing that I find very interesting and I criticize is that how realistic is it that you can only produce yourself to either wear your heart on your sleeve, like again, her humanitarian self, this image that she's trying to portray, like Princess Diana, or trying to be Oprah-like, or trying to be, even Beyonce doesn't have cameras following her talking about all the charities that she does. So I can't even say like Beyonce, but I use Beyonce because she's the biggest star in the United States that's multi-talented, where I think Meghan is still trying to be something like her to the public, but without the singing. Okay, so she doesn't sing, she doesn't do that, she doesn't dance and sing. Clearly Meghan doesn't dance and sing. But in other areas, Meghan wants to be known as multi-talented. But really, in the most simplest form, Meghan Markle is not multi-talented. She is a struggling actress well into her 40s. And I'm not saying that's bad, good, or indifferent. I'm saying it is what it is. Don't be mad at the rest of the world, people who don't see her for what she wants us to see her as. And there's no crime in somebody wanting you to see them as they want to be projected, how they project themselves. But there are many, many, many people who are very intuitive, who are very psychic, who are very high energy people, who are caring and heart-based. And those people read between the lines because you only can believe half of what you see, or none of what you see and half of what you hear. Something to that effect. And someone corrects me out there if you know the correct saying, if I said it wrong. But what I see, I just don't go by the cover. I think we were taught that from little kids. Don't go by just what you see. Question it. And question where it's coming from and question why it's coming from. And to me, these videos that I create, albeit silly or short or very unfussy, is to help people understand what I'm thinking, what I see, my self sees, my spiritual self sees, my uncomplicated eyes are trying to see between the lines or see behind something that is shown to us. You know, someone takes, I mean, there's cubic zirconias, and they're not diamonds, but they're made to look and appear like diamonds, and many people buy them. But honestly, they're not diamonds. And that's the bottom line. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just not a diamond. So that's where I'm coming from with my channel and my speaking and criticism on Meghan Markle. I don't think everything she does is cringeworthy, but I see a lot of smoke and mirrors. I see a lot of hiding behind a persona that she's creating. And I have questions about how such a common low grade actress was able to make it from, say, something like Suits or being a yacht girl to being married to the last eligible bachelor in the British royal family to date as of right now. Now, of course, there's other kids obviously growing up and coming up in the family, but these are Princess Diana's children, and they were, you know, single for a while, and now Prince Harry was the last one, and he's married now. And I really don't know if the marriage is legit. And that's another thing why I brought up these videos. Not because I'm against Meghan. I have no hate for Meghan. You have to really be really ignorant to hate somebody or really know someone really well to develop that rapport. What I have is pure criticism of things that just don't smell, seem, look, or feel like they're correct or they're truthful. And so we got people coming on my channel now and, you know, pointing fingers and calling me bitch and saying this and that. And the word you always hear is jealous. You know, people, listen, not everybody wanted to grow up to be a princess. Not everybody wanted to grow up to marry Prince Harry. Honestly, Prince Harry is not that handsome. You know, I'm not saying he's ugly. I'm just not saying he might not be my type. And he definitely isn't my type, but he might not be many people's type. And I know money makes a difference. In fact, I'm not sure he would be Meghan's type. If you look back at the guys Meghan's dated, outside of Trevor Ingleson, they're all dark haired. So they're more like Italian or you know, Spanish looking Italian. They have olive complexions. They are mainly, you know, quite Caucasian men mainly, but they're dark featured men. So one would question, outside of Trevor Ingleson, which she married for a few years and was with him for, I think, 7 years or something like that. You know, outside of him, maybe that was her first big love. But even before Trevor Ingleson, if you look before him at her now posted teenage romances or her first, it's a black man or a biracial man, and everybody again is dark complected. In other words, olive complected or tan or ethnically ambiguous, if you will. So, you know, we see Trevor Ingleson, she married him, and he was a producer. Maybe I'm hinting at something here. And he looks totally different from any of her other past love interests that you now see posted up. And I'm not going to show them here because I'm sure you've all seen all the different, you know, men that she has dated, and you have seen that they're all dark-haired and olive or tan complected. Yes, there are Caucasian men as well, but they are definitely not blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and they're definitely not redheads. And so when we see these things, you know, I just feel like we have to remember, it's interesting, Trevor Ingleson was a producer. And when she finally got the big gig and the big gig took her someplace else, she didn't really have any time for her husband. And it's understood that her husband was torn about that and kind of, it seems like he had questions about it. According to what media reports and articles that we've read, he was like stunted. And then all of a sudden, it's a lot of dark-haired men, a lot of dark-eyed men, and then it's Prince Harry. One would wonder. One would wonder. And so in a movie, The Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Lorelai was always asked in the movie, why is she going for these old men or going for this guy that's not attractive or that guy? And she would say, it's just as easy to marry a rich man it's just as easy to love a rich man as it is a poor man. So if you look at that, that's one of my favorite movies, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, of Marilyn Monroe. But there's a part in it, she just constantly is like going towards and kind of playing up on men that are not physically attractive and sometimes not even in her age group, but had great amounts of money and power and wealth, and they could get her places and she wouldn't have to do much to get there. So it would make you wonder. And so those are the type of criticisms I have for Meghan. I'm not saying that, I know much more than what any of us are reading, but I do try to dig into things that I think are questionable. And I have a lot of questions about Meghan being involved in what she's involved in, not because I know her or I'm against her, or it's just constructive criticism. One would wonder if she was just motivated by the vast amounts of wealth and power that this family has. Not so much Harry, he has a certain amount of power, but he doesn't have the clout or the great power that his grandmother has. And so everybody else in the family has power, but it's limited. She has the real power. And it belongs with her, and I'm sure it's passed down through each generation. Now, lastly, this whole thing with Tom Cruise, I'm really tired of hearing about how Meghan Markle seems to know all these influential people, but you never see her in any of her past videos, movies, interviews. You never see her with these very affluent, top billing celebrities ever. I think Serena Williams was her top. And one would wonder if even hobnobbing with Serena Williams was because she was a super high profile athlete for many, many years. And Meghan kind of just warmed up to her. Because there is nobody else that we've ever seen Meghan Markle with when she's done red carpet, like some type of red carpet on the obscure side of Hollywood where she kind of had to show up to parties and things. You don't see her with, you've never seen her pictured with Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. You can tell I really hate that name. Kanye West. Okay. You never see her with him. You've never seen her in any of their videos. You've never seen her be invited and walking into the red carpet to one of their parties or their get-togethers. You don't see that. Excuse me. And that's for a reason, because she wasn't at that level. But she has been seen here and there with Serena Williams in the past. And they admit to being friends. But really, honestly, how often do you really see them together? Come on. I mean, there may be some type of friendship there, but we wonder really how deep it really is. We may never know. We don't really care that much. But what we're saying is proof is in the pudding. So now we're seeing these fake things come out about Tom Cruise really wants to get her in one of his movies. Now, one would think because Tom Cruise is an aging actor, so he's a little bit, I think, older than Meghan or just about her age, you would think that he would, maybe get his acting career, another 2 or 3 years or 5 years if he gets somebody like Meghan Markle, who's, controversial. She left the British royal family. She wants to go back to acting. Maybe she can do this with Tom Cruise. I'm not so sure this is real, because really it could be because Tom Cruise could maybe want to do another movie. He's a fantastic actor. He's been around for a while. He has a lot of clout. Meghan would probably benefit from it. He would benefit because he'll have a more leading lady. Maybe he wants to leave his acting career with this, having been acting with her. But if she's not a good actress, which everyone knows she's not, outside of what she's acting on the world stage with the British royals, everybody knows, even the most common person knows she really has no acting skills. That's why she never made it in her entire career. What she got was what she got, which was Suits. And it's by God's good graces. And it was only after she married Trevor Engelson, him being a producer. So after that, she got her first big solid where she was going to make a decent amount of money. She dropped him like a hot potato with extra butter. And from there, she just kept continuing with her contracts. And then she was able to build her, the TIG, and she was able to travel. And I'm sure she got introduced to certain people, but it was never people that you would be like, wow. And even Serena Williams isn't like, wow. Yes, she's an athlete. It's kind of like David Beckham. Yes, people like them because they're athletes and because they win competitions. But, it is what it is, right? But it's not like she was like going shopping with Beyonce, or she was over Kim Kardashian's house having a party with the Kardashians. It just never happened, and it was never going to happen because she's not in that bracket. She totally jumped over those brackets and became involved with Prince Harry. And as soon as she could, she said, I do. And that's how this all started. And I don't care what anybody says. Prince Harry and her, what do they have in common? That they have feelings for certain populations, like poor Black people in Africa, and I should say poor Africans, because Black Africans don't necessarily consider themselves Black. They are African people. And so that's the Black African American, that's all invented by, bureaucracy and the powers that be. So I want to end this video because I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I wanted to let you know that I'm being now bashed by, I guess, so-called, whatever they're called, squads or sugars. Really, give me a break, people. If you don't like the video or the topic, you don't have to even comment. You could just go about your merry way and go on and circle through YouTube and find people that you do relate to. If you have something to say and it's not, something that's good for me to hear, then you can simply say, I don't agree with you and I don't like what you said, and be on your way. But be warned, if I do reply back, and you're going to get what you're going to get. And you'll probably be deleted if you are calling me bitch or whatever, just because you don't agree with what I'm saying. That shows me that you're violent. That shows me that you're not well. That shows me that you're hateful and you have poor energy. Here, I'm just offering my thoughts, views, and commentary on what we're reading or what we happen to see. I'm adding my thoughts and opinions. I have every right to under freedom of speech in the United States, which I am a citizen, and I don't really care what you think. Go create your own channel and therefore share your own thoughts on your own platform using the YouTube platform. You can do that. Nobody's stopping you. All right, so thank you so much for those of you who get what I'm saying. Sorry if I rambled on a little bit too much, but it is kind of hard not to go deeper than you want to with this because it's so convoluted. Listen, the fact remains is that Meghan, according to what we see, does nothing if it doesn't benefit her. That is not illegal, but where it gets tricky in being a fan of hers or idolizing her or thinking that she's somebody that's a humanitarian is when you see her actions conflict with her words. And for instance, again, a humanitarian, what she does is she shows up and narrates a movie that she didn't make, by the way. Her money did not make that movie. She did not pay anybody for that movie. They paid her to use her voice because I don't know why. I guess Disney thinks we like her. And so they let her do it. Maybe it was a tit for tat for the royal family, figuring it was Prince Harry and he'd owe them. Maybe they're gonna owe, Disney or Bob Iger, owes Prince Harry, or Prince Harry owed Bob Iger. We don't know, but she does this narration, and then what happens? Right? She gets a $1 million donation, goes to a charity of her and Prince Harry's choice, which is Elephants Without Borders, which is perfectly fine if it's a legitimate organization. Awesome. But what I don't understand, and I don't see the humanitarianism in it, is that why is not anything coming out in terms of dollars directly from Meghan Markle's and Prince Harry's pocket? Why aren't they parting with any funds? That to me is proof. That to me speaks volumes. If they are going to spend their money and build. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky, and I want to end with this, I promise, is that, what they're planning to do is start a foundation. And when you start a foundation, you use the money that other people give you, that they donate to your foundation, just like she showed up for Elephants Without Borders, used her voice, and Disney donated to Elephants Without Borders. She's going to mimic that same exact thing within her own foundation. And I have a little problem with that, because that's where she's using everybody else's money to benefit her foundation, or have her foundation collect that money and maybe donate it out to another organization that she can now say, wow, we are, giving money to this organization. Or let's say it was the Sussex Foundation, which we know they're not allowed to use Sussex Foundation. So maybe they'll use M&M Foundation, or the Meghan Markle, Harry Windsor Foundation, or the Windsor Foundation, which I still don't think they can use that, because if they could use Windsor, then Prince William and Kate could do that, or Prince Charles could do that. So I'm thinking you can't use Windsor because it's like an already established firm, like an actual business. So, and the name is probably owned by the Queen, ultimately. So what are they going to do? Do H&M? Well, that's a store. Okay, so maybe the store goes out of business now, so they can use H&M Foundation. Or they can use the Happy Foundation for America? No, because Harry is not American. Meghan is still American, and from what we read, that she's not British. So, but Prince Harry is British, and he is still a British citizen. But is he going to become an American citizen? I don't know. I have no idea. But that's a lot of taxes. That's all I can say. And really, America, do we really want them? And another thing, if they're traveling in a pandemic, what the hell would they want to go to Los Angeles for? Why would they want to go to a highly populated area if they can go anywhere in the world, being royals? Why would they choose to go to Los Angeles? Again, lastly, it benefits Meghan Markle to be in a central location where if she's called to act, she has studios, she has people around her that she can use, she has car services, she knows a lot of people, that's where she's been her entire life outside of Canada. She can call on people, her mother is there. I don't really think she has much contact with her mother, because I think she's an island. Again, Meghan Markle seems to be an island within herself, and she's more about her persona than, I think, family. But that's, again, just an observation. But there's a lot in her favor in Los Angeles versus being anywhere in the world that she could be. In the most beautiful places of the world, she chose Los Angeles in a pandemic. All right, people, I'm out. I think I've said enough. I hope you got my point. That is the point of why I am here and why I created this channel, because there's things to be looked into, talked about, and discussed, and also just sharing my thoughts and opinions that I couldn't keep quiet anymore, because it's totally ridiculous how anybody in this world can be as talented as a mushroom and still become Duchess of anything, which, again, it's just words. Really, when you take the words away, it's nothing. it's Prince Harry who's pure royalty. And that's where the real bloodline lays. Of course, it goes to Archie, but we don't know where the heck, if there is an Archie. And that is yet to be seen. And when I see it continuously over, 10 years, I'll believe it. But right now, in the early stages, I question so much related to MM. All right, people, have a good day. Stay well, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. And if anything resonated what I said today, even though I'm just kind of speaking to you and less talking about what's reported in the news, because there's a ton of things reported in media and it's all fluff stuff, and I rather just kind of use today to speak about what was on my mind and then look at some different topics. But if anything resonates with you, go ahead and comment. I try to read them every few days, depending on how many there are, but forgive me if I don't get to everybody. And of course, I would ask you to sub. Please sub. It helps my channel show up on the algorithms. And of course, my channel grows. And without your help, my channel can't grow. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.